How has boxing influenced my life outside the ring? So this one, I think the biggest thing is confidence. Confidence for sure. Um, Boxing or any fighting sport will definitely develop a very high level of confidence, but not in an arrogant way. I mean, in the sense that like my biggest flex is that I've never been in a street fight. Never been in a street fight, so that means I obviously have a certain level of self control given that I've been boxing for almost 20 years. So I've definitely had opportunities where people, pushed me, not physically, but like pushed me to try, honestly, that really hasn't happened much since probably high school. Even then, like I just didn't care for it. But a lot of people ask me like how many street fights have you been in? I haven't been in any, and I always tell them I don't fight for free. If you're a pro boxer, like that's most pro boxers. I'm not saying all of them because some of them are hotheads, but most pro boxers, we're natural pacifists. We really don't fight unless we're in the boxing ring or we're getting paid for it, also in the boxing ring. So me personally, I don't fight for free unless you touch me. Of course, let's get it, cause you touched me or you punched me or you pushed me. That's different. Um, Self defense, of course, obviously boxing is very useful for self defense. But the biggest thing that influenced me outside the ring is just a certain level of confidence in myself, knowing that I can protect myself and knowing that I have everything I need to like I feel like it just like it gives you a certain level of what's the word, not consistency, a certain level of, yeah, self control. Gives you a certain level of self control because you know what you can do in there. You can you can hurt people really bad. You can knock somebody out. You can even kill somebody, honestly. But knowing that you can do these things makes you not want to do them even more. You If you've been boxing for many years, you know that you can seriously hurt somebody both in the ring and in the street. But in the streets, just it's a lot. And there's also that myth that like pro boxers have their hands registered. That's a myth. We don't have our hands registered. However, if I did get in a street fight, I could see that looking very bad for me in court, which is another reason that I don't fight. But boxing has helped me in many aspects of my life. For example, like just doing schoolwork when I was in college, being able to stay disciplined, dedicated. Because if you can do all these things that boxing does and still somehow manage to try other things that are challenging in life, like nothing's gonna really compare to boxing. Boxing is just so demanding. It's so painful. It's a lot, man. Like when you try boxing and then you try to do something else that's difficult, it just does not compare. I'm sure there are things that could be more difficult than boxing, but like not too many. So like not too many at least that you would do in your everyday life. I feel like boxing for sure is the hardest sport in the world. I mean, based on my biased opinion, and probably the opinion of most. But boxing, like it gives you, or at least it gave me a certain level of self control where no matter what, unless it's life or death, unless you're pushing, I don't know. Say I had a girlfriend. You push my girlfriend, you push my mom, you push my brother, you touch me, then yeah, we're throwing hands. But until that happens, I'm not gonna fight for free. I'm not fighting for free because I get paid to do this, and yeah. But the biggest thing, again, is that confidence, which kind of helps you out in many aspects of life. Again, your schoolwork is one, your job, um, anything that you do in life, you do it with a lot more confidence, but you also do it with a lot more discipline and dedication. Because, again, if you can get through boxing, if you can get through a workout every day, if you can get punched in the face, if you get punched in the body, if you can manage cutting weight, if you can manage starving at night sometimes because you have to wait the next day, if you can manage missing out on everything that's fun just for the simple sake of boxing, like what can stop you at that point? Like you've given it all up. What can stop you? Like what's worse? Obviously, God forbid you lose somebody, but up until you lose somebody, like what's worse? I know breakups are hard and whatnot, but I'm talking about physically speaking. Like boxing, there's not too many things that compare to it. There's not too many things. So the biggest thing it did for me, our life, is the confidence piece, but also it makes you a very level-headed person. It makes you consider like, is that good? Is that a good action? Should I take this course of action? It makes you really think, like, because boxing in a lot of ways is like chess, and I'm talking about physically speaking. When you're in there fighting, I make a move, you make a move. I make a move, you make a move. If I make the wrong move, you capitalize on that mistake, I get hit, or vice versa. So, chess. I mean, I'll admit I don't even know how to play chess, but boxing is a big game of chess, metaphorically speaking. So I feel like if you can play chess in boxing, you can play chess in real life with anything. I feel like I'm definitely a lot more cool, calm, and collected whenever I'm making any decision, like business wise. I kind of teaches you to kind of outweigh like both sides, and I don't know. It's just so many things, like the feeling of winning, the feeling of all those people. Pretty much, because here's the thing, like when you're training, I'm getting a phone call. When you're training, and you know, nobody's gonna be there to help you out. When you're training, nobody's there to help you out. It's not until once you win that everybody all of a sudden is your best friend. Everybody all of a sudden wants to be right by your side. But what was all that when the training was happening? Obviously, nobody was there. I mean, besides your gym partners, but I'm talking about people that like once you go pro, like nobody what's a better term for this? Nobody so like there's athletes, right? There's different sports. Nobody I'm just gonna say nobody dick rides more than they do for boxers. Like there's football players, there's soccer players, there's a lot, but nobody is on your nuts more than professional boxing fans. Like fans, there's real ones, there's fake ones. Um, but like boxing, just like people treat you with a certain level of respect because again, not too many people are willing to step in that ring and take a punch, and for good reason. So that's one thing I noticed. I have a very big level of respect that I get from people, like even people that I just met. People that I just met that like, wow, you're a boxer? You've been boxing for how many years? Oh my god, wow, how old are you? So I feel like it's a very honorable sport, assuming you use it for good and not bad. But good for good being, only in the ring and not for be out in the streets and fighting and being this tough guy. I don't consider myself a tough guy. I consider myself a smart guy. You check out, see these glasses, man? Versace, thanks. I'm a smart guy. I'm not a tough guy, but I'm smart enough to not fight when I don't need to and fight when I get paid. Um, this kind of went on long, but the biggest thing that I learned from boxing, or at least the way that boxing has affected me outside the ring, is developing an unparalleled level of confidence. I'm more secure in myself as a person, as a young man, and I don't really feel like the need to prove myself to nobody. I don't really feel like I need to prove. I just don't care. That's that thing too. I just don't care about what anybody thinks about me. So long as I can continue to box, so long as I can keep fighting, so long as I can keep doing what I love to do, I don't care what anybody thinks. I really don't. I feel like that's something that I earned from boxing. Hopefully that works for you guys as well too. But I'm not gonna lie to you. It didn't happen overnight. It happened over many, many, many years. I think after 10 years, like you pretty get the gist of things. I'm not saying it's gonna take you 10 years, but maybe it'll take you 5. Me, after 2 decades in boxing, like I don't want to fight. I don't want to engage in any kind of combat, unless I'm getting paid very generously for it. I mean, aside from sparring, obviously, but sparring is kind of like your day job before you go in. Like sparring is part of my career. So unless I'm being compensated very well, I'm not gonna fight. So boxing has taught me outside the ring discipline, self control, and really, I feel like the last piece is just a different perspective on life than the average person. And what I mean by that is that like you just look at the world. Honestly, I feel like you look at the world in a more positive light because even though there's all these tough things out there, you're just a little bit tougher. Even though you have to go through all these tough things, you're just a little bit tougher. That's why you keep going. You build that callus both mentally and physically. But boxing just gives you an edge that I have not found anything else that comes even close. I mean, money's cool. Having a hot girlfriend is cool. I've had. I mean, I haven't had millions of dollars, so I know what that's like. But I've had my fair share of money, my fair share of girlfriends, and none of them make me feel the way that boxing does. So long as I'm boxing, I feel like I can do anything in my life. Should you start boxing? I think you should. Depending on what you want. But I feel like boxing will do nothing but justice for most people, assuming you're under the right guidance, under the right gym, and still boxing carefully and securely and safely. Um, yeah, try boxing if you're looking to build up your self confidence. That's all I got.